Anita here and welcome to another video. Today, well, it's still not the video I was planning. I'm gonna get back to that in a second, but let me tell you about this piece. So, today I'm recreating an artwork that I've done a very long time ago, in the time where YouTube wasn't even a thing for me. I've been doing the Yeti thing for a while, and this was one of the very first real illustrations that I've planned for the Yeti. It was a little bookmark I did for a market that I was attending at that time. And I loved that illustration so much that I've decided to use it for my YouTube banner. And after that, you can see it on the side, there is an illustration for the theme park, I believe, theme park theme for the 52 illustration challenge, where I am using that little Yeti logo, the banner, for a mug. And at the time I remember, I would love so much to have a mug like that. That's what I was thinking at that time. But you know how it is with making any kind of merchandise? When you are a small illustrator, it's very hard to have it done, like have it at home where you can sell it to other people. To have it cheap, you have to really invest a lot of money into it. And so it was kind of unobtainable at the time. But recently, I have finally finished opening or just establishing, adding stuff to the Redbubble store. And all of a sudden, just when I was adding the artwork, all the scans, setting things up, things have been just popping in my head constantly. I wanted to do this mug. There's another idea I have in mind. I want to do more patterns. I just want to try all these things. And I still have a problem with painting big paintings. I don't know why. I thought I was over that since Inktober, but I apparently am not. I have a problem getting myself to paint big paintings on account of being just scared that I will mess it up. And this thing here was already a big issue for me, which I didn't expect because I'm technically just recreating an older idea. So I thought that it would be easier, but in fact it wasn't, and I'm gonna get back to it in a second as well. So what I'm doing here, a lot of you, well, not a lot, but once in a while I get asked to do, just from start to finish, how I actually sketch my paintings on paper, and this is exactly why I don't do it, because you can't see a thing. I use a very, very hard pencil. It's a 6H, I think. I can't really see from here. It's a 5 or 6H. The reason for that is because even though it's hard, so I have to use it very carefully, but it creates a line that doesn't dissolve so quickly in water, and it doesn't contaminate the watercolor so much, which was my biggest issue. It also creates a very, very delicate line. The little close-up I was showing you just now was basically me really going over the lines, strengthening them, because at this point I wasn't still sure if I wanted to follow the original black outline or not. I wanted to give myself some wiggle room. Now, of course, in the end, you will see, spoiler alert, I will actually use a fine liner. But yeah, at this point I wasn't sure, so that's why the pencil outline. I also have to apologize because I can already feel it coming. I was sick this week. One of the reasons why I was a little bit late with this painting. Never leave things for last minute. If you follow me on Facebook, I don't think I posted it on Twitter, but I posted it on Facebook. I have new neighbors moving in today. They were also moving in yesterday, but today was just to the extreme. It was just so loud. And because I was resting pretty much whole week, I left this painting for Thursday and Friday and I was supposed to do a voiceover this morning, but I couldn't. So that's the reason we are a little bit late. It's not a big deal for me, actually. I'm trying to get rid of this pressing feeling that I have to be on time with videos. I mean, these are only for my own pleasure, really. This is just for fun at the moment. I mean, my channel is growing nicely and I love you guys. I love interacting with you guys, but of course, I will always concentrate first on being healthy and getting money, unfortunately. I need to take a sip. So what I wanted to apologize for is because I can feel that my throat is completely raspy, and I will be having a little bit of trouble speaking. Hopefully, it's not that long of a video. Hopefully, I will do well. Okay, so let's get back to business. This picture. At the moment, I'm just working with straight ultramarine, and it's the grainy ultramarine. Getting messages in the background. It's the grainy ultramarine. It's not the ultra fine one, because I really wanted to have a little bit of a texture. The original picture, even though it looks a little bit on the greenish side in the bookmark, it's actually a mix of ultramarine blue and burnt umber. These were the two main colors. Then I used also yellow ochre for some details and of course white. And then a little bit of pink for the cheeks and just blushy things. But the two main colors were ultramarine blue and burnt umber. The reason why it looks so green on the bookmark is because I have laminated them. And that changed the color for some reason. Like, it still looks good. I love the effect. But it was not ultramarine blue. For sure. Oh no. Excuse me. So, while I'm working here, I'm actually adding ultramarine blue in pretty thin layers. I didn't want to have that much granulation. I wanted to have a little bit of a texture, and if you layer a lot of ultramarine blue on top of each other, it creates this kind of, I don't know, for me it's a frosty effect. It's not exactly like a typical granulation when you have just the thing doing the grain doing its own thing, the pigment, but it creates, because it's layered on top of each other, it really creates this almost like leathery, to me it looks like frosty effect, and that's the basic idea behind the Frosty Yeti, because the Yetis, they are kind of like blending into the background. That's how I always pictured them. So even though there's a little bit of brown going on there, because they are brown, their fur is melting with the background, so it kind of disappears into the blue, and there's a little bit of frost always on the edges. You can see it in some of my other pictures as well. So I'm just layering stuff here. And this is also my very first picture that I have tried to keep in mind that it's going to be on Redbubble. It's pretty much just made for stuff. I wanted it primarily for the mug. I hope it's gonna fit. I think it fits. I mean, it's already there by the time you see this video. But I think it fits, but of course, you know, it's never going to be like the original, you know, it's never going to be like that tiny little 1 centimeter picture that I've done on that theme park, colorful illustration. But still, I'm extremely happy with actually how this one came out. Once again, I had trouble with it, so getting to it in a second, I promise. So basically, you know, this one was supposed to be a mug, and then I really wanted a tote bag, so that's why it's a square. And I've actually looked up proportions and sizes, tried to fit it on an A4, because that's the only scanner I have here. You can see little markings on the side of the masking tape where I had to keep my shapes. It was pretty fun experience, because I'm not going to be selling the original. The original stays with me, as this is, I usually sell everything that I paint, but this one story really is is something I want to write, or rather finish writing, and develop into a storybook eventually. And I really like this illustration. I want to keep it for further reference or use, or I just love it. It came out so nice. Now, I mentioned, of course, that I was struggling with it. Why? I was struggling because at every single moment of this painting, I felt it was ugly. And this is something normal for me. I always feel like this about my unfinished paintings. Really, the moment when it starts to reveal itself, I suppose, or it looks like it's tying itself together, it's only at the very end when I'm adding either white details or the colored pencil, just finishing touches, outlines, stuff like that. Because that's how I paint. I paint from the bottom up. So I start always with washes of background. I never concentrate on detail at first, as usually people do. But in my case, I don't see the painting. I mean, I know where it's supposed to end, and I know I'm heading there, but I just, when you plan a painting, you plan a sketch, and you plan how it's supposed to look like, and what colors you use. You don't really plan how it's supposed to look in the middle. And I am having very surprising amount of self-doubt lately. That's the problem. I am doubting myself. I am doubting my ability for some reason. Even though I finished in October, I've painted since the fiasco in June actually, where I just couldn't finish a painting, and there was a lot of water spilled, and I had this burnout. And since then I've painted. I feel so much better, but for some reason I don't feel ready yet to do big paintings. I am so excited about doing smaller stuff. I'm actually really excited about making more things that I could put on merchandise, that, the Redbubble merchandise, like mugs and bags and scarves. Oh my goodness, I am so excited about making some kind of scarf design or some pattern with cats or the sheep. I am so excited about that. But I don't know, I just don't feel like making illustrations at the moment. Which is sad. It makes me sad because, I don't know, I just feel like my ideas are not adequate. And like I've said here, I'm kind of doubting my ability, because I hated this painting on every single step of the way, even though I knew it was supposed to look like this because I've painted this before. I've painted Yetis before. So, for example, the way the brown is layering on top of the blue, I hated it. But that's how it's supposed to look at the end. It's going to look amazing. I knew that. And yet I was doubting every single thing I did. And because of that, it also took much longer to paint this. I was planning to finish it in one day. Like I've mentioned, I sat down to paint it on Thursday. Pushed it to Friday. And pushed it, I was supposed to release a video on Friday. I pushed it again so that the video itself was supposed to be on Saturday. Now, of course, it's coming out on Sunday, not because of me this time, but still, you see my point. It just kept being pushed because I just wasn't feeling it. And I hope it's gonna go away, because it's not even about coming up with ideas. It's about my ability to execute them. Just paint them the way I want to. I have, like I've mentioned before in the previous video as well, I have a sketch actually, and it's a really cool sketch for a very nice painting full of chickens. Spoilers. And I'm so excited about it, and probably because of that I'm having trouble with starting it. I don't know. I really don't know. I hope it's gonna go away. I'm just gonna start small and get bigger eventually. I mean, it's not a typical burnout because I feel it's an Inktober burnout for me at the moment, but it's not typical because I still feel like painting, just smaller. I feel like painting quicker things, and that was something that I felt after the initial summer burnout, I thought I was over it. I really did. But so coming back here, as you can see here, nothing really much changes at the moment, because the majority, this is a very simple idea, a very simple picture. It's just a Yeti that's peeking over these boulders or the wall. And I made the boulders match the night sky, because it always starts, for some reason the Yetis are always in the night time. I don't know what it is. Of course, it's the contrast between the snow and sparklies. But I actually don't know if I'm going to be able to paint Yetis during the day. Or maybe they're like from up north when there is almost no day. You know, there's almost always night. Anyway, so this is just basically layering colors to make them soft. To make the transitions softer. And that's why I usually help myself with some colored pencils, especially now when I'm still not very sure of my watercolors. I'm still trying stuff out with the watercolors. I get still surprised at how vibrant they are. You could see it especially with the pink. I pick too much pigments for what I need it to be. And so sometimes I pick colored pencils because it's easier for me to get that little bit more of extra saturation, extra color, and I don't need to put another layer of watercolor, because usually that's the last layer of colored pencil. That's what does it for me. And then of course I have to put the colored pencil everywhere. I don't like how it looks when it's just in one spot. If I put colored pencil in a painting, it has to be almost everywhere. So in this case, it's in every single layer. It's not very visible on video that much because they're very fine. You will see it probably in close-up at some point. But I'm adding a lot of really, really delicate hair. I mean, I've recorded myself painting them or drawing them in. But they're very, very fine, and they just add that little bit of extra soft texture. Now, in the original, they're much harder, they're harsher. But since then, I'm kind of upgrading this picture as I go. I've also developed a little bit more of a softer touch, I feel. I don't really like the harsh contrast anymore. In the fur, I like when it just looks softer, pretty much. So here I'm actually starting to put in the white details. There's quite a lot of them because there is the snow, kind of a stormy, snowy thing, with stars and snowflakes and just snow in general, all kinds of bubbles, and I call it sparklies. It's just I don't know. It's this story's snowstorm because I don't really paint it anywhere else, just here, I think. Now I'm thinking about it. Did I paint it in the Snow Queen? I don't remember. Never mind. Okay, never mind. But let me tell you, at this point, when I was putting in the white details and I was done with the colored pencil, that's when I finally started to see the goal of this whole process. I was starting to see the result that I had in mind. And what a relief that was, you have no idea. I was really nervous because I think that when you are having that burnout, when it's very hard to believe in your own abilities for some reason. I really don't get it, trust me. I don't get it because I don't really know where it comes from, where it started. But especially after October, I mean, I've painted so much. I don't know, never mind. So I think that if I actually failed this one, it would be really hard to start another painting. So I'm very happy that it came out really well and I pushed through it because it really, at some point, I actually shared a middle, like a VIP work in progress photo. And that photo, at that point, I was really ready to just scrap the whole project. And that's why I posted the photo, because then it's just, I had to make it because it's already on social media, okay? So I had to finish it. So yeah, that's my picture vows for this week, I suppose. So here I'm just taking the tape off. And later, I'm not doing it here, but I cut away the frame around it because it was exactly 21 by 21 centimeters. and I cut away the little lip just to make it nice and clear. It looks so good. I am so extremely pleased with it. Very happy. So much detail in such a simple picture. So yeah, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you don't mind my little bit of a raspy voice. I need a sip quick. Quick sip. And yeah, if you would like to see what, of course, I have to self-promo. If you would like to see what I've added to Redbubble, there is of course a link in the description, so you can check it out, how it looks on the tote bag and on the mug. Very happy with it. And of course, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Bye!